Welcome back to Cards and Comics, and today I am going to do a mail day and also a little box break because I got this absolute mega box, and I just thought I would, $100, I just wanted something to open. Now I got a big mail day here. I'm going to set it to the side for a second. We'll do the box break first. Now, the reason I'm going to do this on camera, so when I first started doing breaks, I would open everything up on camera and take a little bit of time, and it was frustrating because you run into a lot of tape. Oh, I hate tape. And but yeah, now I got another reason. So I'll start the video out with this, which I did make a concerted effort to be more positive in my videos because it was getting a little down, with the hobby and just how hard it is to kind of move my collection forward. But it's been a good couple of weeks. I got some cool content here. The Comic Con really, gave me some good energy now. But I bought a I bought a card on eBay, and instead of being sent a card, I got sent this, a spork. Yes, this was what was sent to me instead of my card, and so now I'm trying to work through that and get a refund, but. Now, since I didn't open up on camera, I don't really have any evidence because it threw me by surprise because I knew something was weird with the weight, but I didn't expect it to be a spork. And there you go. So the card I should have got was something like this. It was a Mac Jones card, but I got a spork. My area, being in the New York area, Mac Jones is selling really well, so I needed some of his cards to go to shows, and that's what happened. So now I'm opening stuff on camera so I don't have to worry about that. All right, so we'll move on to my box break here. Start with this just for fun. I haven't opened any of this product yet. I do know the kabooms are coming out like really a lot. And, my take on that is just this, is like, if you don't think that Panini and Topps are going to run the presses to make as much money with those licenses before they lose them, then you're kind of, I don't know what you're smoking, because they are, because that's what good businesses do. They make money. They don't sit there and say, well, let's worry about this retail value. Ooh, what if we triple the print run of kabooms? Will that cause problems? No, not in the short term. It's not, because people are going to be like, oh my God, people are paying whatever, $600 for a kaboom of Najee Harris. And then there's like 2,000 of them on eBay at one time. It's just, it's just not cool. Never liked the pink packaging for this product. It was just weird. But here we go. We'll do a couple packs of Absolute Football, and we'll see if we get something good. I mean, I don't know. I hope I get a kaboom just because I like to sell it and buy more cool stuff. But let's see what we get. You never know, right? This is why you open packs still. All right, Aaron Rodgers, here's the first thing. So, Rookie Force, Kyle Trask. And this is the patch or jersey card you get. So, I got a Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, and Jimmy Garoppolo. And then I've got By Storm, Jalen Waddle, who's pretty good. And then here is some rookies. So, here is Carlos Boogie Basham. Oh, look at that. Speak of the devil. There is a Mac Jones base card. So there we go. Another Mac Jones to take with me to card shows. Very nice. Mac Jones, absolute rookie. So that at least got me some money back in the pack. I don't even know what they're going for. I'm thinking maybe $30. Maybe a little bit more. It's weird, the graded versions are selling for ridiculous amounts compared to just the raw cards, and so it's just not really sustainable, I think, to have the cards kind of be that different between graded and raw, meaning that raw is $30, graded is like $2,000. I just think that's not sustainable. Okay, all right, here we go. Another rookie. So we got, this one looks like it's numbered, or no, it's just a parallel, Brandon Stevens. Looks like some sort of pink parallel. Trey McKitty. Kenneth Gainwell, Sage, Sarant, and Jalen Phillips. So nothing cool in that pack, really. So you can see these are going to be a lot of packs with not much in them. You're supposed to get one auto and one memorabilia card a box. So it's the man of the hour, Matt Stafford. We'll see what happens this week. TJ Chalk, Chase Young, and why am I not surprised it's Panini points? Just not surprised. Not surprised in the least. Sometimes I am kind of glad Panini's getting out of this thing because they sometimes really suck. There's a zone, red zone, DK Metcalf. There's Travis Etienne Jr., Jermaine Jefferson. Upside down dude is Chauncey Golston and a Colts there, Kwity Paye. So, yeah, not much in that one either. So the Mac Jones by far is the best hit. And glad I got that because it looks like we're going to get skunk or something red and shiny in here. We'll see what we got. Joe Burrow, A.J. Brown, Randall Cobb. It's a rookie, and it is Christian Barmore in some kind of red, white, and blue parallel, and not numbered, so it's just some rando parallel. It's kind of cool looking. I mean, I wish I had a Mac Jones look like that because another Patriot, just the wrong dude. And yeah, there's some kind of pink Von Miller, and we'll see what we get. The rest of the rookies, another pink. Odafe Oweh. There's a Justin Fields who's not played great, but at least he's played some. Trayvon Moehrig, Josh Palmer, and Pete Werner. So, yeah, you know, I guess you could say it's all about the Mac Jones because that was the only card that was probably going to be a couple dollars, and I think it's probably going to be something. So there you go, it's the Mac Jones. I did it, I guess. I got the card everyone wants, so there we go. So Mac Jones 1, Mac Jones number 2. There we go. My 2 Mac Jones cards I own. All right, so we'll go on into the mail day. And again, kind of disappointed to get a spork instead of getting an extra card. Yeah. It's just, I've been in this game so long now, it's like, it doesn't surprise or shock me anymore that people are going to start doing this. All right, first card up. So this is Skybox Metal, and these are like Molten Fusion or something like that. And these are basically Platinum Portraits. Basically the same exact insert set as Platinum Portraits, but just called different. This is like Molten something from Skybox Metal instead of Flare Metal, and they kind of changed the sets around in the 90s here. So it's, you know, it's a really cool Griffey card. Obviously it's got that you know, the laser holes. The only thing you can see behind it, the only thing that sucks about this card is just the fact that they use that hat backwards photo for him for the picture, and it just kind of looks weird. Like when you look at that thing, it makes him like just have a giant round head, you know, without a hat. You know, it just looks a little different. But it is a very cool card. Obviously, this card, like a Michael Jordan, is thousands of dollars, and this wasn't cheap, but it was definitely a cool card, and it looks fairly well. It's in this really, I don't like these kind of holders, but these are like 90s holders, so it's really cool when you buy 90s cards because you get 90s holders. Like I got 4 screws, you know. It's so weird to get 4 screws, you know, in today's age. But that happens. I'll buy a refractor, and all of a sudden it comes in a 4 screw. I'm like, what the hell? Where'd that come from? I think they still made those things. And then you realize, well, that's been in that holder for like the last 20 years. So it wasn't, you know, like ever removed from the holder when it was originally purchased. So yeah, those things do happen. And that does kind of show you that it is from the era, right? All right, next up, ooh, it's a vintage card. Yeah, I'm just doing these, you know, random. I don't know what's in some of these. I'm just randomly opening packs and cards. 71. Oh, this guy was a smoker. I hate that. 71 Topps Harvey Killberg PSA 8. And I'm fairly sure I had this card in a lower than an 8 in my 70s collection, so I went ahead and grabbed an 8. The 70s, especially 71 Topps, are really going kind of nuts. But, you know, like I did the video where, you know, my last vintage card video, I talked about how, like, suspiciously, like, there's like 10 cards in the 71 Topps that all bring $1,500 as an 8. You got like the Reggie Jackson, the Nolan Ryan, the Willie Mays, the Hank Aaron, the Roberto Clemente, the Johnny Bench, the Pete Rose. You know, it's just like they all bring the same amount of money. And I find it weird because they're not all the same popularity. You know, and some of them are harder to get. You know, the Johnny Bench is much harder to get than the Hank Aaron. You know, much harder to get than the Willie Mays. Or the Reggie Jackson is much harder to get than, you know, all those cards. So it's weird that, you know, like they all bring the same amount of money. So I brought that up. So this one obviously isn't in that tier of Hall of Famers, but it is a cool card. And I'll stack it down here. So 71 Killebrew. All right. Next up, this is probably the last card, I think. We'll see. A lot of comics today as well. So if you're not into the comic side of it, I took care of all the card content right off the bat. So, you know, you don't have to watch me open comics and see. I'm talking about so much tape all everywhere. There is no place for me to open this without possibly damaging the card. Or cutting my fingers. So yes. One of the challenges of modern collecting is the use of tape that's not like, you know, masking tape, and so it sticks to everything. And during the Comic-Con, I had an instance where I ruined a comic book by, you know, trying to open the book and showing it to someone, and then I turned right around and someone that was looking at a book, and it was a dealer actually, looked at a book and he almost damaged it. He luckily had the experience to be able to fix the tape that was going to damage the book, and I was luckily not to have a damaged book. Now, here's the thing. I mean, I know they're in holders, but look at all the knife had to go all the way through all this to get that card out, and there's still more tape. You know, more tape. It's just, I don't get it. Why can't we use masking tape? Why does it have to be the worst tape in the world? All right, that's my tape rant for the day. All right, so we got two really cool cards. I mean, I'm really excited about this, you know. I know it doesn't sound that way, but I really am. Because I'm actually working on a video right now. So one of the videos I'm working on covers these two cards and more. Basically, I'm going to look at what's the rarest 90s Griffey refractors. And not just like, it's obviously the, you know, embossed refractor from 98 Finest. No, I'm looking at it from a total population count, and I'm looking at them in totality. And I'm going to break it down by inserts and then base cards, right? So like, what's the most rare Griffey refractor that's a base card? You know, what's, you know, like 96 versus 97 versus 98 Topps Chrome, you know? 95 Finest versus 95 Bowman's Best. You know, which are actually harder to get in different grades, you know? So I'm going to do a full analysis on basically all the 90s Griffey refractors. Now, the thing that's shocking me is how many there are. I mean, they're in Stadium Club, they're in all these other sets. And so, you know, there's just a lot of Griffey refractors out there. And, you know, so it's taken me a little bit long time to not only compile the list, but also, you know, find all the pop reports and put together a spreadsheet, do some analysis. But I'm working on it because it's important, because I collect a lot of Griffey cards like these. And so first up is the 94 Bowman's Best. And yeah, I just love this one. And this is a box I opened. I've opened a couple of these boxes looking for these refractors because kind of cheap, and you get a couple every box. There's a Posada rookie and an early Jeter and all the... So the Jeter and the Griffey both are worth pretty good money, just like 95 Finest, the Griffey and the Jeter worth some money. I have seen a lot of refractors sell recently, and this is a good example. I just bought a 95 finest refractor for like $150, graded, and that wouldn't have happened, last year. And even 97 refractors, 98 refractors. So I feel like the supply is definitely coming out, and people are realizing like they're worth so much money. Even 96, which is probably the third or fourth most valuable, is starting to come out more often. So this one is not, I don't think it's going to be rare, but I'll know at some point, where it ranks. But it's not one you see every day. And, you'll see them on eBay, but I just thought this was really cool. Now, the next one is one I've never had before. And it is the 97 Bowman's Best Cuts Atomic Refractor. Now, you saw me open a couple boxes, like a 99 Bowman's Best, and you saw me open a 98 Topps Chrome recently. So, the Bowman's Best product, I talk a lot about how they have all these inserts and tiers. Like in 97 Bowman's Best, you not only got, the preview refractors, but you got the international refractors, you got the atomic refractors, and then you got these best cut refractors. And, these are just beautiful cards. They're die cut. This is the atomic version, which looks a lot like, and Topps really screw things up because, they sometimes use like the refractor pattern for superfractors for atomics. Sometimes you use what is now known as like the X-fractor, which is what this looks like. But you can see the movement, how this card has some kind of movement and shine to it. Really cool card. So yeah, when I get that video done, I'll be able to rank these and say, okay, well, this is like the, I think I'm up to 48 different refractors for the 90s. The thing that's even funny about that is, there's 5 refractors from 93 to 95. So the first 3 years of refractors, there's like 5 total Griffey refractors. And then after 96, they just proliferate like crazy. And so you get into the hundreds by the time you get to through 99. But, this might be, number 35 on the list, in totality. And for an insert, it might be in the top 10. Where this base one might be 50th on the list, but for base cards, it might be like 10th, or 8th or whatever. And who knows? I mean, I have no clue on Pop. I looked at the first one. I did kind of looked up 93 finest, and there's like 244 total graded by PSA. So that gives you an idea of like, and 85% of them are between 8 and 10. Majority of them are 9s and 10s. So just an idea, what that future video is going to be about. And yeah, all right. So that's the card content. So I'm going to move into comics. So kind of get these out of the way. But it was a very cool mail day for me because I got a vintage card. And I got 3 Griffey cards that I needed and wanted, and part of kind of like a focus, because I have focused a little bit on the refractors on Griffey, because A, they're not incredibly stupidly hard to get, and B, they're not something that, I guess some of them are stupidly hard to get. Obviously the embossed refractor from 98 is going to be, or 97 is going to be really tough, but there's always an exception to the rule. And the other thing I'll focus on and is a lot of videos are going to be talking about is things like 90s Griffey autographs, like and I will be doing some videos about that as well, because they are very interesting. I think 90s Griffey autos are some of the most interesting cards out there, because you would think that he would have just a ton of them, but I don't think he has a lot of autographs in the 90s until 99, and so, if you think about it, Griffey should have had like the first autos ever and just been proliferated, and he really wasn't until later in the 90s. So it's very interesting. So I'll pull this back a little bit so you can see the books. And so this is Spider-Man. This is from the Miles number 1, Spider-Man number 1. This is the hip-hop variant, right? And so I got 2 copies of the hip-hop variant. And I obviously want to get one graded. So whatever the best copy is, you know, I'll try to get them graded. But these are, oh man, these are a big speculation for me because, you know, it's going to be how do variants do in the future in terms of, you know, importance to collectors. Because this is probably his most well-known variant that people look for. And so it may not be the most expensive because there's probably some out there that are harder to get. So they're maybe more expensive, but this is the one that a lot of people ask for and they look for. And so, you know, in the future, will variants become a big part of a collector, you know, mentality, or are they going to avoid variants because they're kind of seen as, you know, manufactured scarcity, and unless they've got some kind of really cool cover, they're not going to really go for them. I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting thought as we get through some of this, you know, in the future. But to me, I'd rather have these now than wait to see if they become huge in the future, because I don't think Miles is going away, and I think he's going to be a huge part of the, you know, MCU. I don't think he'll ever replace Peter Parker in some level. You know, I think maybe you can have you know, movies in both universes. You know, I know they're trying to combine universes. I don't think that is going to stick forever. I don't think we're always going to have like Miles and Peter Parker like hanging out together. But you know, in this new, you know, Spider-Man movie, they keep bringing in all these new, you know, villains. It just begs the question, and it's like, will Spider Gwen and, you know, will Spider Gwen and Miles show up, you know, at some point to help battle all these, you know, evil villains? If that makes a lot of sense. I don't know, like, what all the rules are and what, you know, Marvel can do with all these Sony characters and whatnot, but obviously Venom's coming, so that means Carnage will come at some point. So yeah, try and get this out of here. All right, that was such a weird, like, whoever did this, like, I don't know what you're doing, man. It's like origami cardboard. I had to cut the cardboard apart because it was all stuck together in some sort of like cocoon that was attached inside the box. So like, I don't know, man. I swear people are coming up with new ways to make these things harder and harder to open. You can see where I cut the bag, you know, trying to get the thing open. Just this thing's over here, so now I'm trying not to damage the book. And that bag's ripped. So yeah, I just rip the bag open because it's all cut apart. All right, let's see what this is. So this is, all right, the other Miles book. So this is the second Miles book that I'm speculating on. This is, oh, it's just part of the picture. I thought that was like a line on the book. This is another hip-hop variant. So this is all new, all different Avengers variant edition. And so again, another Miles hip-hop cover. And this is a, you know, this isn't very expensive, but I think it's a cool cover. And I just think it's kind of like, yeah, at some point when this one might end up being, you know, a $500 book, people may go to this one and say, well, I can't get this one, so this one might go up to $200 or $300. So that could be the case. We shall see. All right. Moving on to the big old box here. We'll see what we get. Like I said, I didn't really know what's in some of these boxes. I pre-ordered a lot of comics, so I'm hoping that some of these are pre-orders. Those two weren't pre-orders. They were just books I purchased as part of, you know, trying to speculate on Miles. And, you know, because I feel like Miles is, you know, even after the Comic-Con, you know, I do feel like he was consistently a character that people cared about. Regardless of what else was going on in the Marvel Universe. Like, you know, and I just feel like he's always going to have a huge fan base. There's always going to be, like, you know, Miles collectors and guys really into that character. And that's just going to make it more, you know, I think for these earlier keys, and, you know, and I kind of feel, I don't feel the same way about Spider Gwen, and I know some people are probably going to hate that. I feel like Spider Gwen a little bit has the Harley syndrome right now, which is Harley has some good stories now. So 2 years ago, I would have told you that Harley Quinn was one of the worst characters in the DC universe because she was codependent on the Joker for any story, or Batman, you know, but men. And secondly, you know, she's never had a story arc outside of the actual animated series that even no one even cared about. And so now with Ivy, and again in a comic book format, but I think in Deceased and some recent, you know, they've really tried to make Harley Quinn cool, and so I'm very happy. The reason why I mentioned Spider Gwen, because obviously I just got a Spider Gwen book. You know, and I contrast Spider Gwen to Miles. So one thing, I've never had this book in this. I've had the other prints, but not this version, the first print. So, you know, from that perspective, I'm really excited about having this book, just because as a Spider-Man collector, I feel like, you know, you need all the cool Spider-Man character books. That's the collector in me. The investor in me says, you know, let's hope that at some point, you know, Spider Gwen has some sort of soul, some sort of story that, you know, you can really latch onto, and it's very memorable, because Harley and Ivy are becoming kind of this thing that, and like the HBO show was great in showing their evolution as a couple. And so it's like she's kind of found her own voice that doesn't need the Joker anymore. What's Spider Gwen going to do? You know, is she going to be kind of, her and Miles going to be a thing, you know, where it's like they're going to take on and have adventures together and have a whole dynamic? You know, they're trying to set it up sometimes that way, but then they don't do it that way, and then they do it again that way, and it's just like, you know, it'd be nice to see what they're going to do. But I think she's a cool character design, again, like Harley, cool character design, without a real story to anchor her yet into what I call, like, you know, a great character yet. So we'll see. But as far as, you know, me collecting comic books go, I need that book because I need to have all the cool Spider-Man characters, but a little, not terribly concerned that she's going to turn into something horrible, because I think people will keep her going. I don't think Spider Gwen's ever going to be, you know, forgotten. You know, I think it's so funny because there's so many characters in all these universes that, you know, get forgotten. You know, like that. You know, they'll go many years without any sort of good stories or any sort of real character arcs, and people be like, "Oh man, there hasn't been a good, you know, like Nightwing or Robin story." And then they'll do one, and they're like, "Oh man, I forgot that character was cool." And I look at my characters that I love, like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, and they'll do this great Booster story, you know, like they did it, you know, back in, I forgot, like, I forget what it was, the End of the World type storyline that came out a couple of years ago. Oh wow. So whoever I bought this from shoved tons of comics in here just for fun. Because I only bought one comic, and then I got all these extras, so we'll see what was thrown in. Wow. Kind of cool. You know, because the box is really heavy. I'm like, hey, I'm going to order one comic, and we'll see what so these are all the freebies. So whoever this seller was, and let me see if it's I'm not going to say if it's a person, but if it's an actual company, then I'll say the company. Because I think I know what the comic is. Nope, it's not. It's just a cool dude. So, you know, IDW G.I. Joe books, you know. Another, I don't know if these are any cool, number 10. Thor, Justice League. This is like what I want to say, it's like an 80s Justice League book. Yeah, there's a Native American character. So hey, look, I collect Native American characters, and there's one. So that's counts for my collector. So this is the Detroit League. So this might be the end of the Detroit League book, and because there's Martian Manhunter, and this is the end of the Detroit League, which this actually might be a book that actually might exist as a key collector book. Interesting. So here's the Freedom Fighters #1. This is from 2010, and this is what I'm talking about, like Freedom Fighters. I'm just talking about characters that every once in a while get a cool story arc, and it's like these guys, like they'll come around, Metal Men, they'll come around. My favorite's Blue Beetle, and sometimes they'll do a Ted Kord story that you like, but a lot of times you don't. Here's the Marvel Mighty Thor Marvel Spectacular #3. A little bit of writing on the top of that book. Yeah, but I mean, it's free, so who cares? But that's a cool book. I mean, just cool that it's a free book. #1, Arak, Son of Thunder. And I look back in the 80s, any #1 was always given a special collector's edition. Like DC and Topps or DC and Marvel were just like, pushing this whole, like, everything is a collectible angle, at the time. So 50 cents. There you go. Ernie Cohen and Dick Giordano was the cover artist of a 50-cent comic. There you go. Incredible Hulk 382. I'm not sure if this is a thing or not, but it's got that cool. I want to say like this is like. I always think this is like a McFarlane drawing. I'm not sure it is or not. Aliens versus Parker. No clue what that is. Boom Studios. Avengers Standoff. It's a Sam Keith. Okay. Interesting. I don't know that book. Dial H for Hero. This got hot for like a hot minute. They thought this was going to turn into something. Spawn 19. That's always a cool cover. So there you go. Spawn 19. This is like I said, I think Spawn will be one of those like books that in 30 years from now, people will like the first 50 or 100 issues would be like all keys or something. And the G.I. Joe. So wow, that's a lot of free books. So like that dude was awesome. Really cool. Like that's unexpected. I mean, I've had books where I've gotten a couple free books before, but like nothing like that where it's just like book after book after book. That's crazy. Now I know what book this is because I was kind of just guessing based on what books I could have purchased that would make someone want to give me a bunch of free books. And I was right. It is this book, and yeah. I'm very excited to see it. Actually, it is not. Now that I'm looking at it, it is not the book I thought it was going to be. So there you go. I was wrong. This is even crazier because I thought it was going to be the big book, which is obviously in my next package. This is not the big book. This is actually, of all the graded books I purchased, this is the least valuable by a large amount. So this guy gave me a bunch of freebies for a book that's not really that expensive, especially in the graded sense. So just shows you that there are good guys out there and folks who want to have more business. Now the book itself is a little ratty, because you can see right here, and I'll just show it to you. It's Venom #9, a 9.4. Which is the first Dylan Brock, and I think we all love this cover, this Spider-Man Noir cover. But there's like stuff here. You can kind of feel it right there, and it's just really like dirty on the case. Like it's got fingerprints everywhere. That's interesting. So I think it'll clean up. It doesn't look like it's cracked or damaged. It looks like it's just scuffed up a little bit, which isn't perfect, but all those free comics. Maybe it's like he was like trading off for, it's a little scuffed up. I'll give you some free comics for it. That's cool. Anyway, cool book. This is my second copy of this, so I had some people talk about it, and express some interest. So I thought I'd have it another copy. And again, 9.4s are just like really good value if you wanted just to like have a copy of the book and do some spec on it. But here's the last package, and I definitely, hopefully this is something huge, and I was trying to do it so that it was at the end. And I thought this was the book that would be at the end, but then that kind of threw me off by having all those freebies. I thought, well, okay, well, maybe it was the big book, and it wasn't. So here we go. This should be the big book. And it's packaged like it should be a big book. I mean, look at this thing. Whoever did this is like a architectural genius right here to put this thing together. So here we go. The corner post. There we go. Pull this apart. Yeah, have you might have seen books packaged like this before. I have not seen this circular foam used that way. It is very cool. And now we gotta go through the actual right tape, which is the masking tape. So this person obviously is a comic book packaging pro. And it's not the book. I'm so disappointed. That I didn't get the big. I just thought, alright. Not the book. That book is still coming, I guess. It showed it was supposed to be delivered. I gotta look. Maybe it was delivered to my other address because I could use 2 addresses for some books. Oh, here we go. Harley Quinn, number 75. This is the it's a Black Flag Comics, but it's a Natalie Sanders, and obviously with Punchline on the cover. It's just a really cool cover. I've got this raw, but this came up and it was selling so cheap, I just decided to grab it. It's a modern variant. It's not overly rare. It's not the Virgin or the minimal trade. It's just the regular. I like this version better. So I've been getting this version instead of the actual minimal trade because I just think it looks more like it should, which is like a magazine cover. When you take all the writing off, it doesn't really look like a magazine cover anymore. It looks like an art germ cover at that point. So yeah, there you go. Not the big book. I keep saying I got this big book coming. I got a huge book coming. Like it's big for me, So I thought it was going to be here. I got deked twice by the dude with the architectural knowledge of packaging, and then I got deked by the guy over here with 50 free books. So yeah, sorry about that. It's coming, I guess. So stay tuned. And so that's it. That's what I got. And a lot of cool comics, a lot of cool cards. I got some Mac Jones cards. Look, I'm relevant. I collect Mac Jones. There you go. All right, guys. That's it for me. I'll catch you next time. Hopefully with the big book. If not, something bad has happened. So I'll see you next time.